All right. So I was fortunate enough to have just taken the OSCP Plus exam. Shout out to RITSEC. This is my name spelt wrong on the slide. Let's get into it. So who am I? If it wants to click forward. There we go. I'm Drew Young. I'm a fourth year. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm going to be working at SRA when I graduate in their advisory red team. I work for Tech Crew right now. I like hockey a lot. I'm the red team chief. I'm on ops, CCDC, and the past info lead. Also your current ISTSCA. So we'll start with the general question of what is the OSCP Plus? And the OSCP Plus is an ethical hacking certification. It's provided by Offensive Security, and they also go by OffSec. And it teaches penetration testing methodologies, tools with Kali Linux. Yeah, well, what's up? There is an OSCP non-plus. Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry. The question was, is there an OSCP non-plus? But yeah, we'll get into that. The OSCP Plus teaches penetration testing methodologies and tools, specifically with Kali Linux. It's also known as like penetration testing with Kali Linux, which is PWK. It's just hands-on penetration testing. It's a certificate that proves that you can do something, and you pretty much have 48 hours to pass it. You're gonna hear people say there's 24 hours. The reason they say it's 24 hours is because you have 24 hours from when you start the exam, like actual hands-on keyboard, to actually finish hacking all the machines, and then you have 24 hours after you finish that part of the exam to submit your report. And what I did was the course and lab access for 90 days. They also offer this thing called like the Learn One plan, which lasts like a whole year, and it's like a lot of money. But 90 days should be enough time to go through all the material and labs and get a good feel for everything. And you also get your own private lab environment with Windows and Linux boxes inside of them. You connect to with a VPN. Now, as Will just hinted at, you might be wondering, why is there a plus on there? You've heard of the OSCP, but why the OSCP plus? Well, very recently, actually like last year, like in like October or something, they changed it in November to be the OSCP plus and not the OSCP. So originally the OSCP you could get 10 bonus points for if you completed all the module labs. It might have been like 75% or 80% of them. But in the OSCP plus, they actually got rid of the bonus points. So you can't do those anymore. OSCP does not expire. The OSCP Plus does expire after 3 years, but you also get the OSCP with it. So there's kind of like two certifications now. OSCP is lifetime. OSCP Plus is 3 years. There's a lot of reasons of why OffSec could have done this. Some people think it's to be more up to date with some of the government things because you might require a certain certificate and it has to have like an expiration date for you to have a government job or to mean anything to the government. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Also in the original OSCP, you just had to break into the Windows boxes, like the AD environment. You had to find a foothold. But in the OSCP Plus, they give you a credential set, and it's just assumed compromise, which is what a lot of like penetration tests are nowadays for internals. So it makes it a little bit easier for the AD set. Also for OSCP, originally you have to own all of AD before you got any points. All the points lie at the domain controller. But in the OSCP Plus, you can get partial credit on some of the AD machines. The big thing for why they made AD a little easier was because if someone couldn't get access to the AD set, then they couldn't prove any of their Windows knowledge. But since they do assume compromise now and partial credit, you can just prove some of your Windows knowledge in the actual exam. So, why did I get the OSCP? And the reason I did is because I just enjoy offensive security, and I'm going to be in this industry when I graduate. It taught me a lot. It's a pretty cool thing. I'm also the red team chief, so it's helpful to know these techniques to be an effective adversary during competitions. Also, it was free. For me, shout out to RITSEC. They covered it. They're pretty cool. That's a big price tag, and the club loves its people. So, RITSEC. It's also a good challenge. You have 90 days to learn everything, and then you have 24 hours to hack everything, 24 hours to report. So it's pretty difficult. You have a question? The question is it free to me because of RTSEC or free to club members? So we have a sponsor who will cover a few of them, and it goes to Red Team to pay for OSCP. So, yeah, it's a good challenge. This is a big number because people love big numbers. According to this guy, Will Chatham, who wrote like a blog about all this, there's less than a 50% pass rate on the OSCP. Accurate number completely because Will said it was, so pretty cool. So the exam format, as we just discussed, there's 6 machines that you have to break into. You have 24 hours to get into all of them. Firstly, there's the Active Directory set. There's 3 machines in that Active Directory set. Usually it's 2 servers and then a domain controller, so 3 servers in total. That is 40 points of the exam. So you get 10 points per server. You have to fully own them. You have to have system on the boxes. And then 20 points for the domain controller. That just means you own the entire domain. So hey, you get 20 points. That's a lot of points for it. There's also 3 standalone machines, which totals up to 60 points in total. 10 points for just getting a basic shell in the box. 10 points for escalating that shell to a root shell. That all adds up to 100 points. You only need 70 to pass the OSCP. But 100 is pretty cool. Anyways, so this was me preparing for the OSCP, a little bit off of like how I did and what I started with. So I had the 90-day lab access. So I did the modules and did the labs at the same time as classes. That was really hard. I was also taking 18 credits and like leading an interest group and like preparing for IST. Yeah, don't do that. It's kind of difficult to do all of that at once. Chase Caloran is realizing that as we speak. I also did some practice. There was a list by this guy named TJ Null. He's a red teamer. He made a list of some OSCP-like machines. It contains like some Hack the Box, some OffSec Proving Grounds, some Try Hack Me, a bunch of boxes like that. That list is really good. I did a bunch of them out of there. Also did a bunch out of the, I can't pronounce that name, Lane, that word. Also very helpful. What I did towards the end as it got closer to the exam was I just looked on the list, and if it was on both the lists, I did them. And if it wasn't on both, I would kind of gloss over it because I'd want to just do as much as I can. Another cool thing is you can just look at write-ups for those boxes if you don't have time to actually do them. And looking at write-ups, you'll get some experience out of it, and maybe you can throw that into your notes of a quick like technique you can use. RITSEC is on YouTube. He's crazy. He like walks you through like an entire process of penetration testing, like a single machine. I think he has a few sets on there too. And he just goes through like hack the box machines, and he'll explain like an Nmap scan. He'll explain how he's attacking something. Tons of information, goes very in depth. Great videos. You should check out RITSEC. And then I also crammed in the last month because I was falling a little bit behind during the semester because it was so busy. But thankfully I scheduled my exam at the end of winter break. It was going to end the Thursday before my flight was to go down to ShmooCon. So literally the last 2 days of break were my exam, and I had the entire break pretty much to catch up on things I wasn't able to do. So this is what the course provides. There's 27 modules. Out of all of these, things aren't included in the exam. For example, AWS stuff is not included in the exam. Introduction to cybersecurity, if you took CSEC 140, that's that in a nutshell pretty much. It just talks about different types of things there. And there's a lot of cool things on here. Like when I first saw all this, I was like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. And then I was like, ooh, password attacks. I'm going to start there. And ooh, Windows privilege escalation. I'm going to go around there. You shouldn't do that. You should probably just go in order because some things will call back to previous sections that you're supposed to learn things in. But, you know, I got excited and jumped around a little bit. But yeah, no, there's a lot of cool things on here. They provide some content in like a PDF form. And then they also provide labs to go with each of the sections that they teach you. And they provide videos that pretty much just repeat the course material, but in a video form in case you are more of like a visual learner and seeing how commands run and everything like that. Obviously, it's very recommended to take notes on the OSCP and on all the material you're learning, since you can use it during the exam. So what I use for taking notes was Obsidian. It's a good note-taking tool. I'm sure a bunch of you have heard of it. You can write all your tools in Markdown, which can just be transferred to like another machine. I kept my notes from the OSCP separate from my RIT class notes because it was an Obsidian. There were different folder structures. And yeah, it also runs on like Kali, so I could just view my notes on Kali if I wanted to. Yeah, we got a question? Good. Yeah, that's a good comment. Yeah, so I guess there's an add-on for Obsidian that you can use like an Apple Pencil or a different like smart pen to write into it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool things with Obsidian, cool add-ons. Yeah, great note-taking tool. I took notes on the modules. Those were all very important on that last slide. Those are the modules. Just general notes about everything there. Then notes on all the tools I used. Anytime I learned a new tool, I wrote it down, and I wrote down how I used it, why it was helpful, when I should use it, and basically just like command line of how I plan on using it in the future in case I need to do the same thing again, which I actually did have to do again on the exam. And then also a cheat sheet or like more of like a checklist, just some like common commands you're gonna run all the time, like maybe a quick reverse shell on Linux, or maybe you want to like escalate your reverse shell into like a full TTY. Just quick one-liners like that you can do on there. Also a checklist for like privilege escalation on Kali or Windows or something like that, just so you don't forget anything when you're going through a box. Yeah, what's up, Will? Oh yeah. Good question. Will asked if I ever used like a framework or like a map of commands and stuff like that, like the Active Directory mind map. I did look at it and I did have it like in a little bookmark on my computer. I didn't actually need it during the exam because I had some very good notes to use. So yeah, but it could be good. Could be a good resource. But yeah, I didn't end up needing it during the exam. Yeah, cool. So yeah, taking notes on things. Another cool tool I learned, it's not really a tool, but there's a website, revshells.com. You can just generate a reverse shell over like any platform, PHP, you can get Java, you can get Python, you can get a Bash one, PowerShell, whatever you want. Lots of cool things. So previous experience before any of this, I worked at SRA for the past like few years on their advisory red team. So that gave me some good experience on the offensive side, doing like external pen tests, internal pen tests, purple team, stuff like that. Hack the box machines, I did a lot of those at SRA as well. They pay for like the platinum subscription, enterprise, fancy stuff thing. So you get access to a lot of cool hack the box machines or retired machines. Very, very helpful, especially for this. I recalled on a lot of that knowledge when taking this exam. Also some classes here that are actually pretty helpful. Penetration testing just gave me some more hands-on experience with like hacking Windows stuff, so that was cool. CSEC 380, if you need like to break a web app on the exam, pretty cool to know how to hack those. Cyber defense techniques, you just have more hands-on experience working with like AD, working with Linux, something like that. So having that experience is very helpful. Red team, all of our competitions, setting things up, and we're just like hacking it on the red team side, also very helpful. And then just using Active Directory. As long as you can get your hands on it and like you can run commands on it and figure out like what an SPN is and what the curb TGT account does and something like that. Like this past Windows presentation, pretty cool things. So that was my previous experience before even taking the course. Some challenges I ran into while doing all of this, as I already mentioned, was very busy semester plus the OSCP. That was very, very difficult. Don't really recommend it because it's kind of a lot, especially like while trying to run a competition too. But anyways, regardless, still a lot of fun. It's also very hard to sit down for like a long period of time every day, staring at a computer screen. Like you just get very tired of just like sitting there, like your back starts to hurt. I ended up buying like new monitors and a new chair like while I was doing all this because I was like, I can't do this every day. Scheduling the exam, you need to clear 48 hours in your schedule just to take the exam, which is a long time. You also had to like, at least what I had to do was like give up some time with my friends while I was at home on break, like just to set up my computer and like work on some machines. But it was all worth it in the end. And then, yeah, once you start boxes, like hacking actual machines and like testing what you know, you kind of like don't want to go back to the modules because it's a lot of fun doing the boxes. And like there were some times it was like 11 o'clock at night and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do like one more machine. And then I look at the clock and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, all right, dude, now I just gotta go to bed. But yeah, a lot of late nights. Completely destroyed my sleep schedule, which was kind of annoying for the exam. But I also wasn't as familiar with Windows when I started like the whole thing here. So I definitely learned a lot about Windows through this experience. The day before the exam, I did a few more of the challenge labs. The challenge labs are very helpful. It's included in the course subscription. You get, I think it's access to 8 of them. 3 of them are like very OSCP-like retired exams. They were a little bit easier than the actual exam was, but it gives you a good like understanding of how the actual exam is structured because you have the 3 machines type thing. So that was very cool. I also created my report template the day before the exam. They have a template. OSCP has a template that you can use. And I just went through there, modified it, made it more personal to me. Prepared my notes, got them all ready. I started like a little structure of like when I break machine, I have like general notes about it, an IP address, a user section, like a credentials sheet, initial access, how I did all that, and then a privilege escalation section. So I know how I did all that. That's how they wanted it structured in the report. That's how I took my notes, kept it all organized. And then just a bunch of snacks and drinks because you're gonna be there for a while. 24 hours is your max. So might as well bring some snacks and drinks in there. Yeah, those are the monitors I bought, ultra-wide monitors. It was like ridiculous. It was like a crazy Facebook Marketplace deal. Oh my God, one of the best purchases I've ever made, ultra-wide monitors, get one. Moving on, the exam. So I thought I scheduled it for 10 a.m. because like 10 a.m. is like reasonable, right? I scheduled it for 9. So when my sleep schedule was already messed up and then I had to get up for 9 a.m., I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But anyways, you have to join 15 minutes early, talk to the proctor, I'm sitting there, I'm at my setup, and I got my monitors plugged in, my keyboard's plugged in, I'm ready to go, and I meet with the proctor, and he's like, "Hey, show me around your room," and I'm like, "Dude, like I had to pick my laptop up, and things were unplugging, and like my water bottle was knocking over, and it was crazy, but it worked out. They just like you need to have your camera on the whole time, and I don't know why, but like, hey, that's why I guess. And then you have to like show underneath your desk and like around the room and everything. It's kind of strange, but very cool. Did that. Started at 9 a.m. First thing I did was run scans across everything because you just got on the infrastructure. You already have IP addresses because they give it to you in the portal. So you have your IPs, you scan everything. While you're waiting for those to run, just pick a random box, start trying what you can do against it. So by 9:32, so 32 minutes into the exam, I already had 10 points because I got a shell in the first one. Pretty cool. And then 20 minutes after that one, rooted that box, got 10 more points. So now I'm at 20 points. You need 70 to pass. And after every box, I just got up and took a quick break because like if you're just sitting down for a long time, it gets really annoying. So like an hour after I started this exam, I was feeling pretty good because I already got one machine. Yeah, what's up, Asa? How do they handle breaks? Are you trapped in the room? Good question. All you have to do is just tell them like in a little chat, hey, I'm taking a little break, and then they'll be like, okay, no problem. Let us know when you're back, and then you just like get up and walk away. Don't lock your computer. Don't like disconnect your VPN or anything. If you do like turn off your proctoring session, they're gonna turn off your VPN, which will like kill any shells you have. So yeah, you just have to tell them, hey, I'm taking a little break, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, no problem. And as long as they don't see anything on the camera, then you're good to go. What's up, Will? Good question. How do they track whether you have access? Yes, it's a flag approach. You have to give them three commands. I'm pretty sure it's just two they require, but for some reason when I was practicing, it was three. Who am I on the machine? Just so they know you're running as an admin user or system or something. Date and time, and then cat the flag text. It's not flag. It's user, I think, and or local and proof are the two. Local is you just got a shell. Proof is usually in like root or administrator or something. So when you cat those, it's like a little MD5 hash value. You put that into their website, and then you also send a screenshot of it in your report. So that's how they track, make sure you actually got access to everything. But yeah, so an hour in, feeling good, got one of the boxes already, moved on to another standalone. So that didn't flip. There we go. Moved on to another standalone. So got a shell on another standalone, 10:27. That's another half an hour after that, and then rooted that one 13 minutes later. So now I own two boxes by like 2 hours into the exam. I'm feeling great. I'm like, all right, I just did my standalone boxes, got 40 points. I'm gonna start the AD set. I was feeling a little uneasy about Windows, but figured it'd be okay. So give it a shot on Windows. It's assumed compromised, so I had a set of credentials. I sprayed those everywhere, found which machine I was able to log into, logged into it, and then had to privilege escalate. Rooted that one, 11:15, so 30-ish minutes later. So now I'm at 50 points. I need 20 more points to pass. So 20 more points is either that other standalone or it's Windows Box, or Windows Box DC. So I spent about like an hour after this just enumerating Windows. I think I took a break for lunch around this time too. Finally rooted another Windows box, 12:10. So that's 10 more points. I'm now 10 points away from like officially passing. And then literally 6 minutes after I got access to that box, I was able to get the DC, and I had enough points to pass the OSCP at this point. And then in my notes, I was like, yo, I just passed that. That's crazy. Except technically you don't really pass it until they are finished grading your report. But, for my standards, I was like, all right, I got enough points to at least like submit a report and like have a chance. So that was really cool. I'm at 80 points now, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm feeling great. I'm going to go do that one more standalone. And at that point, I started at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. I'm like 4 hours into it. I already passed. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to do that one more box. It'll be really easy. It wasn't. This was like the hardest part of the exam was that last standalone machine. I took a break from this like multiple times. I would go downstairs, eat some food, go for a little walk. Took a shower, and then I could not figure out this one machine. I was trying so hard and everything. And then I was eating dinner, and I was like, wait a minute. What if I just like try this instead? So I went back upstairs and sat down, and then got a shell on it, 10:49, rooted that one, 11:07. So pretty quickly, not quickly compared to the other ones, but quickly enough on this machine, rooted that one. It felt incredible when I did that because when I did that, I had 100 points on the exam, and that felt really, really good. Also, I took a break during this too and just like worked on the report and like wrote in there like, yeah, I was able to compromise 5 out of the 6 machines, and then I did this, and I was like, dude, I can go back and be like, I did all the machines, but yeah, so this took a little while, but at least I got the report done during the exam, which is great because I needed more screenshots. This was actually a screenshot from my notes as well. Like this was me at like 3 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I have nothing. I can't get into this. And then the next note, okay, I found it. I wish there were timestamps. It's probably like something ridiculous, but felt really good. Finished the report, turned that one in. Actually, the next day because I finished it this day, double checked it the next day, turned it in. Speaking of the report, now I finished the exam. I compromised everything. This template is on OSCP's website. It's just like a penetration report type thing template. And using this, you can just like fill in some blanks, and then they have a bunch of things pre-filled too that are just there for you for the exam. And yeah, I modified it the day before to make it more like personalized to me. So instead of saying like student, I replaced it with like Drew or like me or something like that. I also spent a good like 5 or 6 hours like after I finished the report and working on the report just to like make sure it was like perfect. Like I did not want to fail because of the report. This is something that they care a lot about. So important there. Making sure I still have the screenshots, which is why I did it while I had access to the network, which is very, very helpful. I did actually miss a few in my notes, so I'm glad I still had that access. And now some general tips for when you are taking the OSCP. Do as many practice machines as you can. Those lists I showed you in the beginning, very, very helpful. Or just like do anything on like Hack the Box, Proving Grounds, Try Hack Me, something like that. As many boxes you can do, very, very helpful. You get more experience. Also, pay for the Proving Grounds practice boxes. They give you access to play when you pay like the fee or whatever it is for the lab. But having access to the practice boxes gives you a lot more machines and a lot more like, I would say, higher level things. And like those sheets have a lot of the practice box on there, not necessarily the playing boxes. It's like $20 a month, and that's like a lot cheaper than an exam retake with OSCP. So it's very worth it to do that. Also, start studying early when you do take this. Don't cram the modules. They're going to get so boring. You're going to forget things. You're not going to want to take notes. You're going to want to do boxes. So just try starting as early as you can. Speaking of notes, make sure you take notes. Very, very important. Someone I know is studying for the OSCP right now and actually didn't take notes initially until I told this person to take notes. But yeah, take notes in every module. Every time you see something that you're like, oh, I didn't know that, or like, oh, hey, maybe I should like remember that for later. Write that down. Very important. Also, every tool you use, how you use it, how to use it, when to use it, all of that. Remember how to do all that. Very helpful later on. And then there's also a Discord for OSCP. So consult the Discord. If you have any questions, look them up there. If they're not there, ask a question. There's a bunch of people there. There's student mentors that are like paid to be there. There's people who have passed the exam that are there to help because they want to help other people pass. Great community. OSCP community is awesome. So use the Discord. A lot of great people there. Additionally, enumerate as much as you can. Enumeration is one of the biggest things in this exam, one of the biggest things they emphasize. This point is said like every time someone even like mentions the OSCP is just enumerate more, enumerate more. It's so true. If you don't enumerate enough, you're not going to have enough information to be able to know how to break into it. Also, learn information about everything you see. So if you see a new like CMS or you see a new like random tool on a random port, look into it, take notes about it, remember it for next time because it could be on the exam. You see an interesting port, dig deeper into it. See, why is that running? What service is associated with it? What version is it? Can it be exploitable? Are there public exploits? Can I change an exploit to make it exploitable? Something like that. You see an interesting folder, read every single file in that folder. If you see a random folder in like /root/backup or something like that, check all of those files in there. If it's a zip, check the zip, everything like that. Anytime you see a file that's not supposed to be there, check it. Also, where are we at right now? Take breaks. As I mentioned this, take breaks. I thought of the final flag while I was like eating dinner, taking a break. So just like keep yourself in a good mindset throughout the exam. Even when you're struggling, just, take a break, work on the report, take a break and like eat some food, take a break, go on a walk, something like that. Just step away for a bit, clear your mind, take a shower, like, just think about that while you're in there, whatever. Yeah. Also, do the challenge labs. As I mentioned earlier, you pay for them when you pay for the exam. You might as well use them. Very, very cool things there. They're very helpful. There's 8 of them. There's some a bunch of them that are like not really like the exam, but they're a network of devices, which is what you're gonna be running into when you go to the exam. So those are really good. And there's also OSCP A, B, and C. Take those like the real exam. Sit down, have your notes ready, like as if you're sitting down for a real exam, and just go for those 3 lab network type things. You'll never feel ready for the exam, by the way. It's gonna be the day before, and you're gonna be like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I might fail tomorrow, and if I fail tomorrow, I'm gonna have to pay for a retake, and if I have to pay for a retake, then blah 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 blah. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be okay as long as you've done like a good amount of study and you've put the time in, you've practiced. You're gonna be okay. Even the day before this exam, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but I told a bunch of people, and they're all like, Nah, you're gonna be fine. Do you know how much time you've like put into this? And yeah, it's so true. Just put the time in. People see you're putting time in. They respect it. My friends at home were like, Yeah, we get it. You know, you can't come out. But like, it's fine. Just lock in, guys. Just lock in. The OffSec mindset, try harder. That's what they mean. If you can't do something, just try harder. Keep trying, keep enumerating. Really just like commit to it. You're gonna do it. Another tip, get some good music. Spotify now exclusively recommends me lock-in songs. Like if you go to my day list, it's just lock-in music. And now I hear them pop up and I'm like, oh man, like think back to the exam. I'm like, oh, it was a good time studying for it and everything. Speaking of having fun, you have to have fun with it. You have to learn a lot from it. It is a lot of fun to do this. Like that's why we all do security. We have fun with it. So just, lock in, have fun while you're learning everything. I actually kind of miss studying. Again, like I'll hear a song pop on and I'm like, oh man, good times, good times. I learned a lot of great things, a lot of great tools, very cool thing. And then something I talked about last night, Red Team Recruiting, was a cool tool recommendation. Logolo NG, it's one of the best things that I've like found out about through this whole journey. Great tool for the OSCP and just like lateral movement and pivoting in general. So take a look into that. But yeah, that's all I got. Anyone have any questions? William Dandred has a question. If I had to do it all over again, what would I do differently? It's a good question. I'd probably start the modules a little bit earlier. I feel like I pushed them off for a while because I was just like, I got so much stuff going on right now. It's not really a priority because my test is in like, it's in January. It's November. I'll be fine. And then it hit December. I'm like, wow, my test is next month. So definitely start studying earlier. You're gonna have to dedicate a good 2 or 3 weeks before the exam to just like focus on practicing for it. That's why I thought it was really helpful to do over winter break because I had that time to put into it. So yeah, I definitely recommend having a few weeks before the exam to just dedicate to practicing. What's up, Chase? The question was, how much time did I have between the course ending and scheduling the exam? I scheduled the exam like the day after I bought the course. I scheduled it for the day after it ended. So the labs end on, I think they ended on Sunday, and then Monday was my day of like prepare everything and like do a few proving grounds boxes. Tuesday was the exam. So course ended Sunday. I mean, you can really have it end whenever you want, but the challenge labs are helpful, and you probably should do them closer to the exam if possible. Yeah. The question was to Casey Kiggins, our president. To her knowledge, this is the first time that RITSEC has spent a considerable amount of money on a certification for someone in the club. Is it a good investment? I would say it is a great investment because people are leaving college here with their resumes that say RITSEC on them, and they already have a certification. So going into the industry, that's a great thing to have. People are only going to say good things about RITSEC going into the industry as well. Also, people are going to be like, "Oh wow, like this school is like they all have certifications there, and like this club sponsors it. Oh my god, that's so cool! I would love to sponsor that club." Like a lot of people like that. I definitely learned a lot. Now I'm able to share a lot at Red Team Recruiting, or just like in general, like right here. This is a good experience. So yeah, being able for students to be able to share information with other students, definitely a very good, valuable investment. Yeah. Cool. All right, thanks, guys.